Hey, welcome back to True-Moto-Resto, and on this video another small project to repair and paint some CB360T side panels. Stay tuned, maybe a tank. So a friend of mine dropped off these side panels for Honda CB360T, and there's 3 sets here, and then there's some other bits and pieces in here. These ones are pretty badly shattered, so, and this one is got some chunks out of it as well. The pieces are all here for this one. So I think he wants to get 2 sets out of all of this, if possible. So I'm gonna have to do a bit of evaluating, see what the best way to go is. These ones have been painted before, and there's a lot of kind of scratches in the finish. You can see they've been painted on the back, but there's no cracks in them. They're complete. There's no, no pieces missing, no cracks. They've just been poorly painted, poorly prepped, and poorly painted. And you can see the scratches in the plastic before somebody painted it. Didn't take the grommets out before it was painted. So that's one option. This panel is pretty nice, but there is a crack right here, so that's shouldn't be too difficult to repair that. That'll work. This one is original as well. It hasn't been painted or repaired. However, there is a pretty good crack in here, which again can be repaired. There's a crack here at the bottom, and then there's a really big crack right here, from there all the way up to there, and then some pieces out of the inside edge. And then these 2 are pretty good. These I'm not going to need too much. I think the only thing that I noticed on this one is the CB360T tag on it. The press through buttons on the back are missing, and somebody's put some small screws through the badge. So my idea is to this is going to be set number 1 that'll be painted, and I think they're actually going to be I think they're going to be this color. That's good. I think that's the color they're going to be, is this aqua. It's aqua blue. And the video, it actually looks more blue than the green that it really is. Kind of an aqua bluey green color. As I look through the camera here, through the phone, it looks more blue than it is. By comparison, maybe you see it better that way if I do the comparison, but I think they're going to be this color. And probably a tank is coming to go with it. So I can take the badges off this as an example, because this badge is intact. The badge is intact on this as well. So I can salvage the badges from that to replace that one, so there's no no screws going through there. We don't need that. This one I think is a pretty good candidate as well. It's should be fairly simple to repair that crack. The next one, I think it would be best to repair this. I think, unless that's another crack in there. But yeah, this one's cracked up pretty good, but I don't think it'll be too bad to repair it. And then these 2, I don't know. I'll see. I have to check them a bit further, make sure if there's no chunks or cracks out of this, they've just been badly repaired. I might just try a spot and see how they clean up if I take the paint off. But it's going to take, I think, more effort to clean these off than it is to repair that and prep that. But we'll see. All right, so with this side panel, I've made a mold here using the plastics molding bar, and I took a casting off a good panel that had this attaching lug still there. And basically what I've done is I filled that with plastics, liquid and powder, and I'm going to let that sit for a day, and then I'll peel the mold off, and then we'll be able to shape it and put the hole back in the middle. These particular side panels are, this is the only break I could find in it, which is on the lug there, but they've been stripped right down the ABS, and I'm not even sure what kind of paint this is. My guess is it's probably like a trim clad. It's not an automotive 2-pack paint, and I've still got a lot of sanding to go to get it all off. All right, so on to the other side panels. This is for the 360T, and so this one's got a lot of cracks in it. So I've just started to grind out the back there a little bit of stuff, a little bit more to do. Same as down here, and I'm using a matching ABS welding rod. This is kind of the beige colored stuff. I've got beige and black, and so this is the original color that the ABS plastic was. So I'm just gonna use the same color, and I fixed this crack, little wee crack here. I just marked it with a Sharpie and gold Sharpie where I could see it again. I've put some plastics on that one. This one I think is good. I haven't found any cracks in that one yet. On this one, there's a tiny crack right in here, which first I used some basically it's like a super glue on there. So we'll see how that. I'll give that a strength test, and if that passes, we'll leave that as it is, and if not, well, I'll weld it. So this one is all welded up, basically halfway through from each side. Weld up there. Up there, so obviously that's got to get sanded off and smoothed out. This one I used plastics. This one didn't need anything. So, and then I've got the other two really nasty ones here. Nasty from the prep perspective, but we'll see how they turn out once I get all the paint off these. There's a lot of very deep scratches into the ABS plastic. That's the unfortunate part. Somebody really went at this with some very coarse sandpaper. Took all the paint off, went right into the plastic with it. So we'll see if I can get it looking better. Okay, so it's the next day, and this is the mold that I made off this one. I just peeled it off, and there is the newly cast tab. So you can see this side, see where the hole goes in there. I kind of overfilled it, so it's kind of flowed over on the top here, but I'll just grind off that kind of excess casting on the top, and then it's easy enough to grind that hole all the way through, and yeah, it's good and solid. Should work really well. All right, so there it is after I've cut the hole back out. So that's a brand new mounting tab. The black area there is the plastics, and the beige is the original ABS plastic. So on this one, this is one of the better panels. This is the one that had the plate, the 360T plate badge attached with some screws, but they'd also used some sort of an adhesive on here, which has actually eaten into the ABS plastic. So yeah, you got to be really careful with whatever stuff you're putting on ABS, because a lot of stuff will actually melt into the plastic. So I've got to actually sand this down. It's actually raised, it's bubbled up the ABS surface, and then it's also pitted it. So I'm gonna have to sand that back, and then I'm also gonna have to probably fill it. So this panel that is largely pretty good has a little piece missing out of the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mold off this one. This is a spare broken one. I'm going to use the plastics molding bar, and then we're going to cast a new piece in place. Just heating up the molding bar so it softens. All right, so I've applied the molding bar to the piece that I'm taking the shape from. You can see that I pushed it through that slot as well. And the reason for that is it sort of helps to keep it in place when I transfer it, but it also plays an important part that it helps to locate that molding bar when I put it onto the blue piece. So then if I lock that into the same slot, it's going to be exactly where it should be. So yeah, it's just basically just pushed in. I'll wait for that to cool, and then once it's cold, I'll transfer it over and we'll start casting the new bit. All right, so there's the mold. So I'm going to put that onto the corner of this piece here. It'll just fit right on there. Like that. And now I can fill through that little slot right there. I can fill the missing gap. Alright, so there's the plastics powder and liquid that I've dripped in there. So that's going to probably take, I don't know, probably a few hours before I peel that off, make sure it's set up really good. So yeah, I think most of these have had a repair, if not all of them. So this one I put the new corner in. These ones were just a mess with the paint, prepping those. This one, there's no cracks in this one. This one was pretty good, but it was kind of scarred up at the top there, apparently from where the seat closes down on it. This one was cracked in 2 places, so that's been welded and now needs to be filled. And this one wasn't cracked, but somebody had screwed some badges on, and then they put some sort of adhesive on here, which is eaten into the ABS. So the other thing I have to do is I'm going to fill these holes in. So the back side of these were not finished from the factory, really. This is just kind of raw, unfinished ABS, and you do see a little bit of the color on the back just from overspray. So when this one gets repainted, it shouldn't be too bad. It should be pretty good for the back because it's going to be a very similar color. It's going to be like an aqua. This is a blue, but the other one's going to be, new paint will be an aqua green. The problem will be for these, same idea. You can still see the kind of the beige ABS through the overspray of the paint. And then of course these ones, somebody had painted a really nasty black on the inside, so I'm going to have to sand some of that off too. But in order to get these to look somewhat OEM, I think I'm going to have to paint the back side. I'll just blow the base coat in on the back. I'm not going to put clear on the back, and then I'll base clear the front, and that way at least it'll look sort of OEM-ish. There's no way you want kind of an aqua blue front and then a red back. So I could paint them black, but I think putting the base coat on the back will help it quite a bit. All right, so there is the newly cast piece in the end there. Just black instead of beige, which is fine. It's going to get painted anyway. On the inside, I just need to trim it off a little bit, but yeah, she'll be just fine. So here's the tank off the CB360T. So as far as what needs to happen with this, so gas cap's got to come off in order to paint it. Obviously this decal here has to come off. These hard Honda badges have to come off. Now it looks like the O here has already been painted just on this side. This is more of a creamy white. This is a very bright white, so I might try to touch that up. It's got that fake chrome plastic trim around the bottom, which is a little bit beat up, and that stuff tends to be quite brittle, so I'll have to be awful careful removing that. And then if you can see or not, there's a dent actually in the tank right here. So once this comes off, I'll have to try to pull that dent out if I can. Again, I prefer not throwing body filler at stuff, or if I have to fill it, as minimal amount as possible. It's going to depend, I think, on just how that's been hit there. But I should be able to get that out. It looks like it attaches with these screws, and it doesn't appear to attach those badges the same way as the other one that I did that has had studs that kind of went into. So yeah, the other one's the same way. So somebody again has touched up the Honda badge here, which it's the wrong color white. So the O has been touched up, the N, the D, and the A. I mean, almost everything has been touched up there, but we might see if we can do that as well. I'll check with the customer, see if he wants me to do that or not. I do have a new set of decals for it. So yeah, and removal of this cap will be the same routine as I did on my buddy's 350. You have to punch out these pins, and there's a pin on this latch mechanism here that has to get punched out as well. So yeah, we'll do the same thing there. That should work. And yeah, we'll have to take the tank in to get it optically scanned for a color match. And again, this is one of those scenarios where when you see this on the screen on the video, this is going to look blue. Because as I look at my phone here where I'm filming it, it's definitely blue, but in actual fact, it's much more of a teal. There's more of a green tint to it than shows on the video here. So it's more of a teal than a blue, and but very pretty color for sure. So it should look quite nice. Right, so on these Honda CB360Ts, one of the cool things is that all these stripes are painted on. This is not a decal. A lot of the bikes it's decals, but on this bike, this is all painted, which is incredible. They actually took the time to mask all these and paint them. Yeah, kind of interesting. So now I'm going to get to see if I can pull this dent out here. You can see it's right in there. So I'm going to use one of these smaller pull tabs. We'll glue that right into there. Maybe this one with a curved tip. We'll put it right in there and see if that will give us enough purchase. I don't know, one or the other. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe this one actually. This might be better. Starting to pull the dent here, just gently squeezing on this tool, and we'll just do it a bit at a time. These generally will pop off and you have to glue them back on a few times, but this is a gradual process. It's not a quick or fast thing to do. You just got to take your time. So just starting to take away some of these little tiny rust spots. They start off like this big. By the time you get everything that's started to get underneath the paint, you're up to something about this size. So what I've done here is a couple of things. I've taken my my little Dremel tool here, and I've ground out down to where there's a lot of little rust spots where there was either chips or the paint had fractured or whatnot. So I've gone and I've ground those down back to clean bare metal. And then where you see these larger spots, these are where there were small dents in the tank. So I've taken all the paint off there. They are really, really small, but they'd still show up if you when you repaint it. So they're very, very shallow, but there'll have to be a little bit of filler put in there. Bunch of these rust spots on the side here as well, so they've been ground out. And then also on this side, this is where there's quite a large dent in here which has been pulled out, so it's just a couple of little shallow spots left, so I'll fill those. And I took the sander and I've sanded off the paint that was the stripes, which is not a decal on this tank. It's actually it was actually paint, so that's been sanded off. Interestingly, it was painted, but it wasn't clear coated over, so that was kind of interesting. Just like that, straight from the factory. So next steps is going to be, I'm going to treat all of these rust spots here with some rust neutralizer. Rust, I can't remember what the stuff is called, but anyway, it's like a neutralizing chemical to make sure that if there's any trace of rust left in those areas that I ground out, that it basically kills that so it can't come back. Once that's all dry, I'm going to start the process. I'm going to sand a bit more around this area with the sander, get it all scuffed back, and then I'll put a very, very light coat of filler on there, and then I'll basically finish sanding the entire tank. Sand the paint stripe off this side as well, that'll go, and then we'll just get into the priming and prepping and all that kind of good stuff. It was very, very difficult to get a paint match for this. I went to the paint supply store, and this is the color they ended up with. It just came out of the they did an optical scan, and the computer would not generate a matching color. It had nothing to go on. So I ended up going through their book, and it's this number here, the 18E1903. It's a teal metallic, and this is basically, I got 1.5 pints. I thought a whole quart might be too much, and I thought a pint might not be enough. And the reason for that is, although the tank is quite small, I've got 6 side panels to do on both sides, and I'm also not sure, because it's fairly transparent paint, and it's probably going to take, I'm going to guess, 4 coats. So that's why I went with 1.5 pints, and hopefully that should be sufficient. So we shall see how that goes. All right, so everything's been sanded, and we've got any of the low spots nicely filled. Didn't take very much filler at all to deal with some of those dented areas. And yeah, we're gonna hit it with some primer now. It's all been degreased, it's been primed, and I think we're ready to go to the next step. So that's the etching primer coated on there. So now that that's on, I'm going to give that a good few hours to dry before I apply the high build. I'll scuff that up a little bit just to make sure I get good adhesion. And then, yeah, it's not going to take too much more. Just sanding in between coats of primer, and then it'll be ready for the paint booth. So today I'm going to see if I can sort out these badges for the CB360T. So some of them are, you know, they're missing the white inside the lettering. This one is missing, the black is kind of washed off in between the letters. This one's got the orange missing out of the T. This one's got the white missing out of the 3. These Honda badges off the tank have got the wrong color white in them, so that the H is correct, but the rest has been painted over. Same with this one. Some of the H is good, but it's been touched up with slightly the wrong color white. So I'll see if I can get that a bit more consistent. So what I'm using is Tester's modeling paint. So this is a kit that I use. So basically the idea is you just kind of pick and choose whichever colors you need to mix together to get the right shades. So it's just kind of trial and error until you see the right color, and you go from there. There's the first coat of blue, or aqua, whatever we want to call the color. It appears more blue in the video than it actually is, as I've said before. But so far, this particular color of Valspar paint has gone on much better than the white that I painted on the GSXR Skull Bandit. This one has gone on quite nicely. So yeah, so I'm guessing at least 2 more coats. I went really light on the first coat just to make sure I wasn't going to have any issues with fish eyes and stuff like I did with the white, but so far so good. All right, second coat. Seems to be covering okay. Still needs to flash off, so I just put it on. It's still quite wet. So. Okay, there's the third color coat. Everything looks good. We'll be able to get the clear coat on here very soon. We'll tack off a little bit more, and I'll let it dry a little bit more, then I will tack it off again before I clear coat it. Okay, here's the first coat of clear. Kind of hard to hear me because I've got my mask on here. There's still some clear coat vapors in here, so I don't want to be breathing that stuff in. Alright, so we are all done. 2 coats of clear. And yeah, everything looks pretty good. There's one little speck of dust that got on this panel here that I'll sand and buff it out. But aside from that, I think we're all pretty good here. As I said, it's much more green in person than it shows up on the video. So it's, yeah, it's come out quite nice. Quite pleased. So yeah, we'll wait a while, and the tank will have to be sanded, and before the decals go on, and then that can be brought back for clear. So I've just wet sanded this 360T tank with 600 wet. And the next step is to get the decals applied. So once that's done, then this can go back for 2 more coats of clear. Now it's if you've never done this before, it's a little disconcerting the first time you do it, because you've just taken your beautifully clear coated tank and sanded it again, and you kind of wonder whether or not it's ever going to come shiny, but this is just alcohol, so you can just tell as soon as you put clear coat on this again, it's going to shine right up. So yep, it'll come back to a nice beautiful glossy finish. So I'm just using my little airbrush, and I've got a regulator down here so I can kind of dial it way back, because I don't need a lot of air pressure going through here. So my paint in here, so I'm just gonna test this on a, yeah, it looks like we're good. Let that dry, and then we'll give that I don't know, 3 coats. Right, so there's the side panels with the badges back on. And again, just a reminder, these panels are quite a bit greener than they look in the video. They look quite blue in the video, I think, but yeah, definitely more of an aqua type of color.
Okay, so you hold it where you want, and I'm gonna put a couple pieces of tape. Happy with it? Yep. Yep.
All right, so decals are on. And now we are ready for clear coat. So we'll get that back to the paint booth. There's the tank all clear coated. So the badges and the fuel cap are back on the tank, and everything is ready to go. So all the stuff will be picked up tomorrow by the customer, and I hope he's happy with it. I certainly am. It looks great, and I just wish you could see the real color. As I've said before, it's greener and more aqua in person than it shows on the video, but very, very, very close to the original color. So yeah, really pleased with the way this one came out. And yeah, on to the next job. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you in the next one.